All right, we do want to bring you some breaking news right now. The woman who was shot and killed inside the U.S. Capitol today during the riots was actually from San Diego. KUSI, we have spoken with her husband, and he tells us Ashley Babbitt, that's her name. She was a 14-year veteran. She served 4 tours with the U.S. Air Force and was a high-level security officer throughout her time in service. Her husband says she was a strong supporter of President Trump and was a great patriot to all who knew her. Metropolitan Police Department say an investigation continues right now into her death. KUSI sends our condolences to her family and to all who knew her.
Very sad. Our thoughts are certainly with her and her family.
What did I do with it? What did I do with it? Damn it, man. All right. So, what I want to say about this. So, I'm sure a lot of people have been watching this whole thing with the Trump supporters storming the Capitol. People are blowing up my phone today, man. Turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. Oh, Pete, you gotta see what's going on the TV. Turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. And I like I said before, I said this country is divided. It didn't matter who won the election. The country is divided. You know, I don't know how many millions different vote between Trump and Biden, but I'm saying, you know, Biden is coming into the office as one of the most unpopular presidents, you know, that there are, because 50% of the country didn't want him in office. You know, I know the liberals are running around and they're trying to, you know, promote their narrative of, you know, that, you know, they represent good and Republicans represent evil. And, you know, that they were, you know, ordained to be in the White House and this is a great thing and blah, blah, blah. You know, and so you got, you know, the feminists, they're happy that Kamala's there. You know, you got black people who I think are simple-minded and foolish and demonstrate their low IQs because I'm like, I'll say it again, ex-slave population. The Democrats haven't done anything for us, you know, since forever. You know, you're voting for the party that's going to, you know, leave you disarmed, yet I don't know, black people got this attitude like, you know, it's the whole Captain Solo stance, you know, have what you need. You know, black people really don't care what the laws are. They're going to have what they need. And, you know, as has been demonstrated, African Americans have bought more firearms over the last year than all of the other groups. Granted, white people didn't need to go out and buy more firearms because they already have firearms. But I'm saying in terms of new gun owners, black people top the chart, even more than Asians that, you know, were getting attacked because of the Kung Flu virus and all that other stuff, right? So it's like, it's not that black people don't, you know, take up arms, but in terms of you know, being one issue voters and politically supporting the party that allows them to have, you know, their rights, like black people don't care about that, you know, and I kind of scratch my head on that because I say to myself, I'm like, well, if you can't buy it, then you can't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to have continued access to it. And I don't understand, and maybe that's just black people, because black people are always short-sighted when it comes to future generations and their children. They only think selfishly about themselves, and they don't consider, you know, well, I want my kids to have access to this. I mean, if we can't even get legacies and generational wealth right, then clearly, you know, we're not going to be thinking about, you know, laws and what they mean over the course of generations, and whether your grandkids or your kids have access to, legally purchased firearms in the future. So in my opinion, I'm like, black people are just short-sighted, and that's just what it is. The other thing, going back to what I was saying about, we're ex-slave population, everybody's racist, cops are racist, white supremacists are racist, and then you got to deal with the Ray Ray and Pookie issue. And, it's like, I just don't understand, how, how we think and operate when it comes to, firearms and being able to protect yourself, from threats from anyone, or anywhere. I can't wrap my head around it. So, if something happens in the future, which I think something will, I mean, you had the white militias, they went over there in Michigan and abducted or tried to abduct the Michigan governor. And I'm like, again, America is divided, as was stated, I think who said it, Abraham Lincoln, a house divided cannot stand. Right. So I'm like, this year is going to be, in my opinion, riddled with terrorist attacks. Now, people may not label it terrorism, but it's going to be riddled with, the James Yeager pack your bags type. It's going to be riddled with that. And black people, you're going to find yourself, in the middle of it, because, we keep putting our face on everything. We keep putting our face on, just on being the opposition. And then we don't even get anything out of it. That's the part that kills me. We go out there and we want to vote for Democrats and everything else. We don't get anything out of it, but yet we get all the angst. We get all the anger and disgust directed at us because, we're blocking, what the Republicans want to do, in there. And I recognize the racism and the bigotry, when it comes to the, the white Republicans. But you know how I feel. I'm like, man, leave them white people and their guns alone, because they don't play that shit. That's like their security blanket. Right. And if the Democrats want to pass all this other stuff, I'm like, you could easily pass all the other stuff that people really don't particularly, get, as, they don't get as charged or triggered like they do on the gun issue. But even with that, I'm like, get rid of the gun issue. I'm like, what is in here that's going to benefit black people? You saw how Biden was up there talking to the Black Caucus. I'm like, nigga, we told you. You know what I mean? The Black Lives Matter, they weren't even invited to the table, which is not even an organization. I can't stand that the Black Lives Matter even uses the name Black. Somebody should sue the shit out of Black Lives Matter. I mean, seriously, they should sue the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I hate the fact that it's really an LGBT organization and they're using Black Lives Matter. And then every one of these like other groups, militias, Proud Boys, whatever, they keep saying Black Lives Matter like as though, that it's about the organization as opposed to the statement. Right. And then as a black person, as you walk around just going about life, you know what I mean? Everybody just assumes like you on some Black Lives Matter shit. And you sitting there like, nigga, that shit ain't for us. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Lord Jamar up in this shit. Like that ain't our organization. That's some George Soros, you know what I'm saying, paid for, by the moo-ha-ha, white liberals in the background, throwing money around. They ain't got nothing to do with black people and the black family. It has nothing to do with that. And nothing the Democrats are going, I mean, seriously, what are the Democrats about? Tell me what they about. You know what I'm saying? You think they're going to enact something for reparations for slavery? You don't already heard Kamala Harris what she's on. You don't already heard Joe Biden what he's on. So reparations for slavery, that ain't happening. Okay? Or anything about, resources, for the black community. That ain't happening. I've already said black people could have probably got more out of Trump by stroking his ego than anybody, but y'all don't want to listen to that. He's sitting there, got Kim Kardashian getting Trump to wave the magic wand and pardon, a bunch of, black political prisoners and shit like that. And y'all just completely ignore that. Funding for HBCUs, y'all ignore that. You know what I mean? And I'm not a big fan of Trump. The man is an asshole. He's got behavioral problems and everything else. But I'm there's too many black people out here with like feelings and emotions. You're just as bad as these white people storming the damn Capitol. You know, these are uneducated, low IQ feelings and emotions. They sit there and they watch their prospective social media or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. That's where they get all their information from. These are the people that could not hang in a debate and even articulate why they feel the way that they feel. They just let people tell them how they should feel, and they go out there and they operate like that. But I'm like, tell me anything that the Democrats are doing that's going to benefit, the black community. Right. And you already know when I say the black community, I'm talking about intact nuclear patriarchal homes. The feminists want to push back on that, and you got all these, church hat wearing black women. They'll be the first ones out there. Let some shit go down. Let some of these white militias or white people that are in their fields with all their guns, let them go out here and do something. Pop off with some Dylan Roof shit, and black women going to be up there talking about they non-protected. And there'll be the niggas out there will be saying the same thing too. You know what I mean? And I'm like, both of y'all can get the hell away from me because, I'm like, if some shit pops off, that's your ass. You know what I mean? Because, when I just look at, and even when I look on like social media and everything, black people so petty. I see Claudia Jordan, she up there, that they need to comply, which is kind of funny. I'm not going to totally knock black people for being petty because, now all of a sudden when the white people riot, they're all patriots and all this other bullshit. But, again, like if Trump would have won, black people and, all the liberals, they would have been out there doing the same thing. They would have been storming the Capitol just the same. George Floyd died and everybody was out there, rioting and protesting or whatever. So I'm like, if Trump would have won, it would have been the same thing. You know what I mean? So I don't really see the difference. I just see a bunch of people with feelings and emotions, regardless of whether it's Republican or Democrat. But, we go up there, and you see all these black people on Twitter and posting all this shit, if they only comply, all that stuff, which I already recognize. Like I said, and I kind of get where black people are coming from. Black people really act like, the laws really don't work in our favor, so we don't really give a fuck what the laws are. Again, going back to Captain Solo's have what you need type of situation. Like, we gonna have ours regardless. I'm saying there's some black people who feel like that. But then there's other black people, like, they really believe that the Democrats is gonna save them. Like, they really believe that shit. And it's mostly black women. Hate to say it. Hate to make it gender specific, but it's true. That's why the Democrats, during the whole election process, they cater to black women. They ain't asking black men nothing. And then again, another, reason why you saw 20% of the black male vote go towards Donald Trump. The black Democrats be on some tutti frutti shit. Don't like the nuclear family. Everybody needs to be gay, LGBT, want to disarm everybody, right? But yet violence is exploding in the black community and whatnot. And I'm like, well, who's going to fight that? I'm like, it's two things. Yeah, you're going to have to put some people down, which means you're going to need guns to protect yourselves in order to do it. Or at the very least, protect yourself, let alone go in there and purge. But then you also have the aspect of, well, you need to bring up economic opportunities. And we already know the Democrats ain't going to do that. So, again, I go back to, well, have what the hell you need. That's how I look at it. I have a more negative, pessimistic, worldview on this shit. Because I'm like, Democrats ain't coming in the rescue. Okay. And you got the white supremacists on one side. You got Ray Ray and Pookie and all these drug dealers selling fentanyl on the other side. They got to eat. And then you trying to raise a family and send your kid to school and shit. That's why you see black people, they got money. All they do is move to the white suburbs and get away from it. I don't have to deal with it now. I don't live anywhere around that. I don't have to deal with it. The class has saved me, right? Like the class hierarchy, that has saved them. They got a little bit of money. They got their way out of poverty. And so now they don't have to deal with what's going on in the inner city. And the inner city is just seen as a cesspool where, black people just cannibalize each other. But what about the black people that's stuck in that situation if they ain't in the streets? I'm like, the cops, they don't give a fuck about you. That's the funny thing with these protesters and shit like that. Like Young 85 said, you know, back the blue until it's you. Same people up there talking blue lives matter and shit. You know what I mean? Now they get up there getting it with the cops, which is what I said before. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, they all, from my cold dead hands, you know, the tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Give me liberty or give me. They talk all that shit. Telling black people they need to comply and all this other bullshit. But let them get into it with the cops. You see the white girl, she got shot in the neck. Right? And I'm like, if she got hit with a 5.56 round, she ain't gonna make it. No. They ain't. I mean, there's nothing to recover. If she got hit in the neck with a 5.56, I saw that cop, you know, standing over her with a rifle. I'm like, She was looking for it. She found it. You know? And so I get black people on, you know, them being petty in these comment sections and stuff like that, because I'm like, if that was a Black Lives Matter person, again, not the organization, but the sentiment, you know, if that was a black person and Trump won the election and we were in there and we got shot in the neck, oh, you already know them white people would be jumping up and, you know, if the niggers would only comply and that's what you get, you nigger. Like they would be up there just foaming at the mouth, talking about that's what you deserve and black people, you know, we need to do something with these animals, right? They, you know, all these non-human, subhuman categories that they love to give us. So, you know, carry on, black people, you know, in the comment sections and stuff like that. But I'm saying once we get past all the petty shit, you know what I mean? Like I told you, like sometimes it's just some shit that they ain't got nothing to do with us. Like I get that y'all feel the energy from white supremacy and the fact that like white people, they vote Republican and they have all these negative ideas about black people and black people, we're supposed to vote Democrat and then that's supposed to be like our shield or some shit like that. But I'm like, Democrats don't give a fuck about you either. You know what I'm saying? Like it just pains me to see how black people always out here with the capes, you know, with this red and blue shit, not recognizing that neither party, like it's just the right and left arm of white supremacy. Neither one of them fuck with us. Neither one of them are going to provide anything for us unless, you know, we demonstrate, you know, no tangibles, no vote. I'm not politically tied to any party. I'm not politically affiliated with any party. This is an exchange. What you gonna do for us? But, you know, again, I hate to say it, it's just how I feel, you know, with the black women. And, you know, I'm like, y'all up there, you know, yes, more feminism. And I'm like, and your community is broken in large part because you don't have strong black men. But you all want buckets more of more feminism and more, you know, ideas of female empowerment and, you know, get rid of the guns because women can't actually envision themselves utilizing a firearm to protect themselves as much as they scream rape and pillage. They only look at it from the standpoint of guns being used against them. So I'm like, okay, so you ain't got no men, or your men are weak. You believe in this idea of female empowerment, completely ignoring the fact that women don't do any of the building or the maintaining of anything. And then you want to disarm not just yourselves, but essentially everybody, because somehow you'll be good, even though men will always be stronger than women, physically speaking. Like I'm just like, okay, like y'all not making sense, you know. And then, you know, the white zaddy government will come in and protect them, you know. And it's kind of weird because it's like black women think, you know, okay, the cops is going to come in and protect us because, you know, from violent black men. But then, you know, again, the racism is directed towards black men, and then black women are out there in the streets protesting violence against black men, right? And then you got the Republican people, they up there talking about, you know, blue lives matter, you know, we back the blue and all this other shit until they get into it with police. And it's like they don't get it either. I'm like, yeah, you crossed a certain line, and those U.S. troops and National Guard and all that shit, they will fucking put a stomping on your ass. Okay, they will shoot at your ass. Hence, you know, I'm like, what is, like, white people up there? They always talk about fighting liberty and tyranny and why we need the Second Amendment, but then they act like the government can't go against them. Like it's weird. They're like, I'm white too. I support Blue Lives Matter. So they keep trying to play this pander game with the police officers and whatnot. And I'm like, and it's the irony is many of the police officers do support Donald Trump. The police unions, they vote for Donald Trump. Remember the NYPD? Who did the NYPD vote for? Who did they go against? They said, we don't support de Blasio. We support, right, Trump, right? You had the whole police what is it, the police union of New York, with his thick ass New York accent. He up there talking about, because de Blasio, who's married to a black woman, is saying shit about Black Lives Matter, and cops is doing too much and getting too physical. The cops, they don't like being corrected on any front. So then they go and, we support Trump and shit like that. And I'm like, how much of these white cops really gonna put hands on these white people? But then again, you had this white chick get shot in the neck. So I'm like, I don't know. All these white people running around talking about, give me liberty or give me death, of the tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I'm like, all right. I'm like, we about to see what y'all really made of. That's how I look at it. I'm like, we gonna really see if whether you was just talking shit, you was just running your mouth. You know what I mean? Like Styles used to say, with all the shit you be talking. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what's really about to go down. But then again, you go over there and you look at Michigan, and I'm like, well, they wasn't playing around. They looking at all type of, Fed charges and everything. And I think that that's going to be a constant, for the next, couple of months. I think you're going to see a lot of that. These redneck white folks, man, they not playing. And I'm telling you, I feel like a lot of black people going to get caught up in the shit. I can't stand when everything... like, I don't know why black people just don't know how to shut up and sit the hell one out. Like, when shit don't have nothing to do with you, like that damn Kenosha boy, with Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm like, that ain't had nothing to do with us. And yet black people up there, like, on this, like, this symbolically does have to do with us. Like we turn some shit into some racist shit. Like the shit is about us when it ain't really about us. Like, when you got a white person that's Republican and they get into it with another white person that's liberal, like, we don't know how to shut the fuck up and sit that one out. I don't understand that. I'm like, it ain't got nothing to do with us. I'm like, I'm grabbing popcorn. I'm like, I'm gonna see how this shit goes down. Right? I'm sitting there with my drink and my damn popcorn, and I want to watch how this shit goes down. I'm like, let's see how white people handle their differences. But no, always some wailing black woman got to get involved in the shit and start talking like Stacey Abrams, you know what I'm saying? Or start talking like this damn this black dude, the pastor in Georgia that won the Senate race. He gets on my nerves, man. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the NRA video that they did. And I'm like, and again, like, white people, like, I mean, we might as well just give it up, because there is no real, like, America. And it's like, anytime you can even agree with, like, the side that, like, the group that's like, y'all not really compatible with, anytime you can agree with them, it only lasts fleeting. It only lasts for a couple minutes, right? So it's like the NRA put out this video about the pastor, I forget what his name is, Wardorf or whatever the hell his name is, the black dude, the pastor that ran for the Senate, right? So he won. Right, so you already know I got a problem, because he's going to start talking all this, white Jesus shit and everything else, which is the irony of black people running around talking about they supporting, this guy and all this other stuff. But I'm saying NRA did a video, and they had him talking about, joking. He was joking about not, black, the Republicans, they want everybody to have a gun, and there's people in this church right now that you wouldn't want to have a gun. And the black people in there laughing. They in there laughing. And what the NRA clip did is they went to whatever that church in Texas was, and the other church where you had the two old white men that had the guns. That basically one was was it not Spring something in Texas. I forget what the damn name is, but you know what I'm talking about. The one where they killed 26 people or 27 people. You know, the guy went in the church and started shooting the place up, and the other white guy grabbed his gun. He lived across the street, then chased him down and, you know, shot him and all that other stuff, right? So they used that clip, and then they used the other clip of the old black man, old white man that was in the church, and a guy came in with a shotgun, killed and shot one of the black stewards, and then he shot and put him down, right? Because a lot of people don't know that whoever came in that church that day killed one of the black stewards. It was a black man who died in that church, right? And they showed a clip. I'm sure most people have seen it. He walks in it. Just type in church shooting. You'll see it. It'll come up. But anyway, I'm like, oh, so y'all gonna put this. See, this is where the NRA just misses the mark. I'm like, y'all gonna put this clip, but you got a black pastor speaking to black people, but yet we don't forgot about Dylann Roof walking in the black church and shooting the black church up. If you're trying to speak to, and which again highlights the fact that they're not trying to speak to a black audience, which is stupid because you would want to stop the black people from voting for this guy, right, making your point, but they never make the appeal directly to black people. They always make the appeal to white people, like as though that message is going to get to black people by using a clip of white people defending themselves in a white church, as opposed to saying, here's this black pastor up there joking about black people being armed in the church. Well, here's the Dylann Roof clip, and maybe if black people were armed, then what Dylann Roof did maybe wouldn't have gone down. But see, the white people, they don't want to do that at the NRA, because if they do that, then it makes it look like, oh, white evil people and white people are a threat, and we don't want to send out that message that white people are the problem. So we're going to use the white church and the white people defending themselves in the white church. But I'm like, but that misses the mark of communicating to black people like what this pastor's up there saying isn't a laughing matter. This already happened to black people. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's just like everybody missing the mark. Everybody's emotional as fuck. There's no critical thinking, no intelligent voices out here. It's just irritating. You know what I mean? Just to watch this shit. That's why, you know what I mean? I'm just over here, you know, cleaning my guns, oiling my shit, you know, ready to go if shit gets stupid. You know what I'm saying? As long as you don't come over in my space with your dumb shit, you know, we ain't gonna have no problems. But apparently, you know, it's obvious I can't change the world. You know what I mean? It's obvious that, like, you know, like, I just look at it like, after this 4 years, are y'all gonna get it then? Are y'all gonna get it then? And then sit there and sit on your vote and make a statement politically when they look at the numbers and they say, wait a minute, black people, they not voting, and how could what black people, what y'all need? You know, well, we're gonna need you to do this, and this if you want to get our vote, because the bottom line is Biden and Harris could not have won without the black vote. This senator in Georgia could not have won without the black vote. And I'm tired of black people always out here letting Democrats tell them what they should vote for, as opposed to telling the Democrats what it is they want, need, and desire. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense. But this is the most black people. Most black people are low information voters. You know, big mamas sitting up in the church. You know what I mean? And with some low IQ, you know, this is what I picture. I picture a fat black woman with a church hat and some skinny, broke, dusty black man that's with her. You know what I mean? And they together, and they just stupid together. And then they got a bunch of kids. The son, he got a bunch of felonies because he out there in the streets. The daughter, she's nothing but a single baby mama that got pumped up by a bunch of pookies. Like, that's what I picture is the essence of the typical black family in America. Okay? Big mama with the church hat, and she's overweight. She makes more money than her dusty ass husband. The son, he ain't accomplished shit in life. He's got a bunch of felonies. And the sister, she ain't nothing but a fucking baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I picture most black families, you know, fucking being. And why, like, I'm like, you ain't gonna get no political, you know, the intelligence out of that. You ain't gonna get, like, you know what I'm saying? The dad, he too bitch ass to stand up to the mother. You know what I mean? The son, you know what I mean? He's out, he's just in the streets. You know what I'm saying? the daughter, she's running around talking about how badass and strong and independent she is with fucking, 3 kids by 2 different niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the BC is. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you want to talk about a cultural self-hate? You want to talk about the days that I like wake up and I'm like, just give me some non-black chick and let me go off and live a comfortable lifestyle. And, my kids will probably be on some self-hating shit and be beige and racially ambiguous. And I just say, you don't have to deal. You're not black. You don't have to deal. You just live your life, find who you love, and that's it. Okay, because there ain't going to be no black empowerment. There's not going to be any black people actually actively going out here and doing something and forming a community because they're not intelligent enough. I know that the Jared Taylors would love to hear that, but they're not. They're not. Everybody's emotional. All the people, all the dumb niggas think they smart. That's the part that gets me. All of the dumb niggas and bitches, they swear up and down that they are just so smart. You know what I mean? Like, all they do is just go with the flow, and they think that they know. You sit there and you point out as a black person that you have doubts about the Democratic Party, and you know that, the Republicans, yes, they be on some racist shit, and yes, we understand and everything else like that, but there's certain things that I'm concerned about. I'm like, if this whole goddamn shit is going to collapse, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to get what I need in order to protect myself for as long as possible. I mean, that's just the facts. Again, the white, crazy white folks, they got all the guns that they need. If they want to go out there and do something, think about it like this. They ran up on the governor of Michigan. They ran up on the governor of Michigan. They plotted out some shit, right? The FBI was monitoring it and all that other stuff, right? But if they really wanted to do some damage to some black people, if they decided, yeah, we're going to get in the pickup trucks and we're going to drive in the middle of the hood somewhere, and we just going to start purging niggas on some racist shit, like, that shit wouldn't get found out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be as much of a quick response, not in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? They could seriously do some damn damage, and black people ain't going to be prepared. So I'm like, if it goes either way, at the end of the day, black people, you're not prepared. You're not prepared, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? And y'all just, again, it's just a bunch of simple-minded black men and a bunch of black women who think that they're empowered, just running around thinking like the Democrats are some sort of a shield. Makes no goddamn sense. Oh, the cops is racist. And now that the cops is out there and you about to see the Republican Trump people and the cops, go at it, you somehow still believe like, that because Biden and Harris are president, that all of a sudden, the cops are no longer going to be racist? Well, you think you won't see any black men being shot and gunned down by police in 2021? You think you're not going to see any? So because Kamala and Biden are president, that all of a sudden you're not going to see any cops shoot any black men this year? You're sadly mistaken. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a bunch of cases of black cops shooting unarmed black men. They just had one in Ohio. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to see that. And y'all going to say, well, we want swift justice. And I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing Kamala and Biden start doing a bunch of soft shoe and tap dancing, for black people. But they're not going to do anything. They're not going to effectively do anything. And again, like I said, these police officers, most of them are pro-Trump because Trump is up there talking about law and order. And that's what cops want to hear. Shit, they out there in the streets. They got to deal with the criminals and shit. All they want to hear is they want a blessing. They want blessings on their shit, on all the decisions they make and everything. They want somebody that's going to back them and say, that's right, officer, you did the right thing. Okay? Most of the cops out here feel the same way that cop when, that arrested Henry Louis Gates, felt when Obama invited him to the White House. That motherfucker was defiant. I did my goddamn job. You know what I'm saying? Fuck over a beer. I ain't apologizing to shit. This black man, I saw him, appeared to be him breaking into a house. And when I went into the house, he gave me lip, despite the fact that he hung pictures of himself all over the house. I wasn't sure it was him, but he was giving me lip, and I will not tolerate Negroes giving me lip. And so, that's how a lot of these white officers feel. Especially in places where, this black people don't have no political power. They a minority of minority in a particular area. These cops live in all white communities. They ain't thinking about your black ass. And then when they come across black people, because again, America doesn't want to deal with the racial economic disparities, they look at black people like, oh, see, all these niggers, they don't have jobs. All they're doing is selling drugs. That's how they view us. It's like either side. I'm leaving comments on some of these white gun channels, they're bitching and I'm like, I told y'all motherfuckers this. I told y'all a long time ago that if you want black people to vote on some real strong Second Amendment shit, you're going to have to look at some other factors. And it's too much for them because all they care about is as long as I get to keep my guns. They don't understand that, first off, one of the reasons why black people, you're not going to see, black people be vulnerable voters on the Second Amendment is because, there's too many other things, too much of the, lack of jobs and economic opportunities. And they think that, the Democrats are going to keep them afloat. The other aspect is you don't have enough, intact patriarchal homes. Guns and the idea of using guns to protect your family, that's really a man thing. And if you got a bunch of broken, fatherless homes in the black community and it's just Big Mama's house, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to have a black community that actually goes out there and, where men are actually, looking at firearms and why they must have them in order to protect their household and protect their family. I'm telling you, you're not going to see that, And, not that they actually care about what I'm saying, because I really don't think that, if, in other words, if it's not going to be easy for them, they're like, well, fuck it, because they really don't want to have to appease, or cater to, the African-American community. But if it's not going to be easy for them, if you start talking about like what the real underlying issues are, like they're like, oh, well, fuck it, we don't need the niggers. We'll do it ourselves, And so they go out there and, and I'm like, all them black folks, all they see is racism. And they're going to, and what they think when they vote for the Democrats and they're voting against Republicans, that they are voting against racism. That is what black people see. There's a white guy on YouTube. He's a evangelical. And I got to give his channel some credit. He has a video titled something to the effect of, black Christians versus white Christians and why they vote differently. It's a pretty good video. He lays out some shit in there. He really breaks down that whole party switching thing. I mean, he breaks it the hell down, all the way down. Like I said, I'm like, them white Dixiecrats, they didn't suddenly move to the north, and become, blue Yankees. Like, that's not what happened. No, the same people sitting in the South saying, it's not hate, it's heritage. Them same people in the South that are Republicans right now, their great granddaddy was a Democrat, or their grandfather was a Democrat. They were Dixiecrats. And the Dixiecrats were on some racist Ku Klux Klan shit. You always get these white Republicans try to come to you with and we're the party of Lincoln and we freed the slaves. Just complete intellectual dishonesty on history. It's so irritating. Like, this was so irritating. Like, it's hard being an intelligent person in this world. I don't want to humble brag, but I'm just saying, like, it's hard being an intelligent person out here. Because most of these people are dumb. Like, most white people, dumb. Most black people, dumb. Like, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have these like nuanced conversations where you can sit there and really like break shit down and call out the bullshit. And it's like, like I'm just at the point, I'm at the age where I'm like, if I'm talking, I'm telling you who I get most mad at. An intelligent person that tries to pass some bullshit off, past me, who's essentially acting like I'm dumb. Like, I can't see the shit for what it is. That shit pisses me off. I'm like, come on, motherfucker. We two intelligent people having a conversation, having a discussion here. I broke the shit down to you why this is such and such a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I already do all of the running the simulations and the tests. I don't just present bullshit just to be presenting it. Like, no, like, I know what the fuck is going on. I laid some shit out to you. I know you're intelligent enough to understand or recognize what the fuck I just said, however long it takes you to process or whatever, and then come and respond back with some real shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any patience for these type of people that just, they want to come and they want to, do these sort of soundbite clip type of talking points, you know what I mean? And act like they don't understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean? When the shit is universal, like example, I don't care what race it is. If you take the jobs and economic opportunities and deindustrialize a particular area, you're going to have a bunch of broken homes and fathers that are alcoholic and teen pregnancies and freaking young men and that are going to, get them be in the streets, and you're going to have, high incarceration rates and drug abuse and all. Like, that's what you're going to have if you don't have, young men working, able to provide for their families more than what a woman can, provide, herself. That's the only way that you're going to have intact patriarchal households, is you got to have young men gainfully employed. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get around me on the math on that shit. I don't care what the race is. You know what I mean? But somehow, when we're talking about race, the rules and the laws of the universe, that apply to white people, suddenly, the parameters change when it applies to black people, even though it's the same shit. Care what the fucking race is. The same shit. Oh, young men out of work, not working, not gainfully employed. Oh yeah, that's going to cause a lot of problems in the community. Oh yeah. You're going to see that not only in the conditions of the community, but in the conditions of the household. Oh, you're going to see that. But it's just a mess. It's a mess. And then, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen with, Kamala and Biden. They're going to, you know why politicians love gun control? Because it's something that can be done in one term, and they can say, look, we did something. Even though you don't really see the impact. The assault weapons ban didn't do anything. Columbine happened during the assault weapons ban in 99. So like all this like, oh, we did something, and it's not really doing anything. Take all the guns away from niggas, and first off, they're going to still have their shit. They're still going to be homicide. They're still going to have their shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're still going to have, like, even if you, like, all this shit with, like, I don't know, like, ban something, anything off the top of your head. I'm like, okay, I hear you say you want to ban this, you want to ban that, but I'm like, you're still going to have poverty because you're not addressing the poverty. You can throw up whatever you want. I'm like, if that shit isn't a jobs bill, if that shit doesn't put young men to work, like, we're still going to have the problems. Whether guns are legal or illegal, you still got poor people. Whether drugs are legal or illegal, you still got poor people. I'm still waiting on you to address the poverty issue. I'm still waiting on you to address the jobs and shit. Like I said, like, you see the shit with Apple. I told y'all, it's not about skills. It's not about skills. The elite class do not want to pay people. That's why you see all these people, all the degrees in the world. Oh, I went to Stanford. Oh, I went to NYU. I went to here. I went there. I got a degree in software engineering. I got a degree in AI intelligence and all this other. Oh, yeah, okay. And guess what? All of a sudden, all these Apple people, all these Alphabet people, all these tech industry people are forming unions. I'm pretty sure most of them, all of them, if not, make $120,000 a year at least. And yet, look, they're working for the richest company in the world, and they're saying to themselves, maybe not the richest. I think the richest is like the freaking Saudi oil company. But I'm saying they're working for one of the richest companies in the world, and they're like, yo, you making all this money. You know what I'm saying? And you're not really paying us like that. Like, we see the money that you bringing in that's just stupid because we wrote the software and all this other stuff, right? And yet, you got Apple and Google, they don't want to pay people. I mean, this is how, look, I'm telling you, it's like that video game 2077. Okay? It's like, I'm telling you, it's like that. What's that game called? Is it Blade Runner? What is it called? I forget what it's called. But anyway, it's like that game. I'm telling you, it's going to look like in the near future, Weyland-Yutani Corporation. That's what it's going to look like. You're going to have mega corporations with PMC, private military corporations. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to have their own courts. It's going to be like you're on an Indian reservation and shit. I'm telling you. Soon as Elon Musk finishes all this rocket shit and going to Mars and all that other stuff, and then you're going to have a Mars colony that's owned, operated, and controlled by one company. You're going to have a moon colony that's owned and operated by one company. I'm telling you, that shit is coming. And y'all sitting there talking about, we don't need the Second Amendment. The guns and violence and mass shooters and criminals in the community and everything. I'm like, please. That's good. That's the least of your worries. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you talking about corporate entities that don't even want to fucking pay you. They don't care whether you can support your family or not. And then you're going to what? Leave it up to them to defend you? See, this is why my frustration with women, because women don't have an imagination. Maybe not all women, but most women. Most women have these fluffy Care Bear ideas in their head that I can't stand. And maybe because I'm a man and because, you know, again, that's our reputation on the line. You know what I'm saying? Like I swear, like if some shit went down, like I would just have to die. Like in terms of like protecting I would just have to die. Because it is better to be dead and people say, oh, you were a hero and this, all that shit, than to be alive and your wife looking at you like you a bitch and you a coward. Like, you like shit, your marriage ain't gonna last if she feels unsafe. Like you didn't respond when you were supposed to. Again, going back to why the women like street niggas. Because regardless of whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent, there is a response. There is a response. You know, and so, you know, I mean, it's just like, that's how I look at the world. I'm like, nah, man, people, corporations, whatever you want to talk about it, you know, if they have the advantage, like they're going to try it. They will try to freaking, you know, manipulate. They will try to, you know, get you to work for nothing and peanuts. And, you know, I'm telling you, you know, like that's just how the world operates. Another reason why I don't subscribe to religion and Christianity and all the Abrahamic religions is because people are full of shit. People are fucked up. You know, and the further, the more degrees of separation they have from getting their hands dirty, the more fucked up they are. It's like, you know, many of us, when we eat chicken nuggets from McDonald's and everything else like that. You ever see them chicken farms that they grow the chickens in? You ever see how as soon as the male chickens are born, they throw them into this meat grinder? Right, because the male chickens, they don't get as big and you know, have as much weight to them as the female chickens, and so they slaughter them as soon as they're born, while they're alive. As soon as they're born, they have this machine that like sorts them out, male, female, whatever, you know. And they throw the males away. You know what I mean? But you know, we just sit there, we go, chicken nuggets, and we just eat them. Beef, you know, we just eat it. You know, we don't sit there and have to look at the cow being slaughtered and shit like that. And that's how many of these people that are in the corporate sector, that's how they look at it. You know, they don't have to, you know, they don't feel your pain. You know what I mean? You are so many degrees of separation and far away, it doesn't even matter to them. You're nothing to them. You are simply, you're not even a casualty of war. Like you're just nothing. You know, and you know, that's the way that things are going. Like, you know how many of these wealthy people got stupid wealthy? You know, you know how you would have gotten wealthy over the last year if you bought stock in Bitcoin, Tesla, Ruger, and Smith & Wesson. Those four right off top, you'd be sitting on bank right now. But in order to get involved in that game, every time there's a crash, you know, you notice every time there's a crash, the rich get the wealthier. Because they have enough capital and enough money to go off and buy, you know, a lot of these stocks and everything else when they crash. And then they blow up because there's certain needs. You know, Amazon's another one. You know, so that's 5 stocks right there. You see, Tesla, Amazon, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's at 30,000. I remember when Bitcoin was 4,000 and then it went up to 50,000. It went up to, what did Bitcoin go up to? I'm pretty sure it went up to 50,000. I think it went up to 52,000. And then it fell back down to like 16. I remember this shit. It's all over the place. It's wild. But anytime there's instability in the economy and people out of work and everything else like that, people start going over to, alternative stuff. That's what these wealthy people do. But I got to argue and fight with black people about, whether people should be paid, enough money to support themselves and shit like that. I'm like, and this is black people talking about other black people. I'm like, geez, man. I'm like, I already know how the white folks feel about us making money and being gainfully employed. And here you got black people talking the same nonsense, the same bullshit about other black people. I'm like, insane. But this is why, like, my whole attitude on, yes, if I just come online and I talk some sense, I'll awaken enough people, and enough people will recognize what I'm saying and say, damn, Pete, I didn't really think about it like that. And then they'll, like, go off, and all of a sudden I hit the critical thinking light switch, and then they'll forever be critically thinking about everything. Like, no. Most people are dumbasses, and they will continue to be dumbasses, and that's just what it is. And see, I hate saying this because, this is where there's only one place to go from, what I'm describing, and that's where people go into the whole, elitist eugenic aspect, which is, those people are dumb, and us intelligent people, we don't want to be subject to the dumb people and what they're doing. So then the intelligent people, they basically coalesce and come together, and then they devise ways where they are protected and safe and from the masses. This is why, in my opinion, they want the liberals, the tech industry people, they want to, they want to disarm the masses. If you notice, YouTube, Facebook, Google, they're all anti-Second Amendment. They don't want they demonetize the Second Amendment videos on YouTube. Again, power does not like to be challenged, whether that's the federal government or whether it's the tech industry. They don't want to be challenged. That guy that blew himself up in Tennessee, he was trying to blow up the 5G network and everything. That's tech. There's a tech industry. You see? You had that one woman from Iran who went into the what was it, the YouTube building, was it YouTube, and then she shot the place up and everything else. Like tech industry. You see, people aren't just looking at the government as the government being problematic. People are looking at these corporations. And truth be told, a lot of corporations, they only have surveillance. They don't have security. Cameras are surveillance. Locks, locked doors, freaking fences. That's what security is. A guard, an armed guard, that's security. And I am biting that directly from a white guy who made a video on this very topic, talking about this, like some computer tech guy himself, because he put two and two together, as it pertains to that guy, because I didn't know why he killed himself. I was like, what was it? And he was like, oh, he was trying to, the 5G network. I was like, 5G network? And then I'm like, oh, yeah. And then started really to click with me when it came to the Second Amendment. I was like, yeah, again, power is not going to give you the power to challenge them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the reality. Power is taken. It's not given. And so, you have the Second Amendment. It's enshrined in there, shall not be infringed. And I'm just amazed at how willing the people are to give it up, all in the name of false security. Because you'll have a mass shooting here and there. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, if you live in a free society, yeah, that can happen. This isn't North Korea. I tell people all the time, people running around, oh, I'm so scared of people being armed and having firearms and shit like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? People are driving around with deadly weapons every day. You could easily get in your car, see a crowd of people, do like the Muslim terrorists and be like, fuck it, and start running people over. You could easily get in your car, be on the highway, and then just go across the fucking median, cross the grass, and drive into oncoming traffic if you really wanted to. And you probably end up killing somebody. Fuck it. What's the difference between that and having a pistol on your hip? What's the difference? What's the difference between having that and an AR-15? You know, oh, look, a Christmas village. Oh, yeah, fuck it. You know, I just start running people over. What's the difference? You know what I mean? People sitting there afraid of one type of power, but don't even realize that they have another type of power. If you have a vehicle, you're just as dangerous as if you had a gun. You know what I mean? You can see somebody jogging on the side of the road and just be like, fuck it. They wouldn't even see you coming and run them the hell over. Yeah, it's a horrible idea, but this is reality. This is reality. Like this idea that everybody's just, if people don't have this and people don't have, you're like Chucky from Rugrats. I don't know, guys. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't have that. You know, and the Democrats are always there to come through and be the nanny state. Yes. Give us all the power. We will protect you. You know, and the next thing you know, it's like Senator Palpatine and the fucking, the Empire and shit. You know, I'm like, y'all just stupid. Like, y'all it's so easy to just look at history and see, when people are, they're too lazy and they're too simple-minded and they sit there and they trust, all the powers that be with their safety and security and everything. And I'll just put it in their hands. You know what I mean? You see how that shit plays out in history. All you gotta do is sit there and look at all the massacres and all of the, what do you call it? The damn genocides around the world, whether it's the Khmer Rouge or whether it's the Third Reich or whether it's the, even the mining companies in America, the Ludlow massacre, the Latimer massacre, the, what's the other one? The Memorial Day massacre. You know what I'm saying? Look at your history. But nope, the Homestead massacre. Like people don't look at these things. And all these people wanted to do was they wanted better wages so they could take care of their family. It wasn't like they were like, I want to be rich and I want to have a yacht. No, they just wanted better wages so that they weren't living in squalor. You know what I mean? And what did those corporations and what did the people say? Yeah, have some of these bullets. You know what I'm saying? So there's a part of me, that looks at these, Republicans storming, the Capitol and whatnot. And I'm like, again, if Donald Trump won, it would be a bunch of black people out there. It would be a bunch of liberal folks out there. They would be up there with the same energy. Because people are not, getting what they want. And honestly, it's even further divided and further exacerbated because, people are struggling. You know what I'm saying? People are out of work. Of course, you're going to see more protests when people are out of work. You know what I mean? It's not like they got to take a day off of the job that they don't have in order to go protest some shit. You know what I mean? They can go out there and go protest and go march and do all that shit. I was watching one of the I forget what that old white man's name is. He's got a YouTube channel where he posts all these old clips. And in the clip, he had one where, what was I talking about? Oh, where they were talking about the protests of the 1960s and how basically, you had a bunch of college students, you could pay off college with a summer job, back, in the 50s and the 60s. And they were like, after the 60s, they were pointing out that what the elite did is basically put everybody in stupid debt. That way, after you got out of college and you got a job, you were basically a debt slave. And so you had to go in there and you had to, what do you call it? You had to go in there and you had to, work your 9 to 5, to pay off all your debt and your mortgage and all that other stuff. And so people didn't have time to protest. People didn't have time to go out there and march and jump up and down and everything. They didn't have time to do that. So, I just thought that was an interesting point. That's all I'm saying. But, as it pertains to all this, for the most part, do I think a whole bunch is going to change? Not really. I just think it's a bunch of people with their feelings and emotions. I am worried about the Democrats with the gun control shit because I'm telling you, these white people ain't giving up shit. They got way more entitlement than black people do. You know what I mean? Black people, that's why they can't stand the COVID restrictions. Black people are used to being quote unquote controlled. We damn near expect it because, of the system of white supremacy in which we exist under. But white people, they're not used to being told where to go and what to do and not having freedom of movement. That's why they out there screaming, it's my right not to wear a mask. It's my right. You can't restrict me and tell me and put me on lockdown. What do you think? I'm black or something? You know what I mean? Like, they have way more entitlement than black people have. So, I'm like, man, I look at the Democrats, I'm like, y'all keep fucking with that Second Amendment. I'm telling you, you're going to have them James Yeagers are going to show up. I'm telling you, like they showing up at the Capitol now. It took them a while to mobilize and get all of the troops and the National Guard and everything else, and the mayor got to be a black woman. So, again, that's even triggering white people even more because, they're like, who's this black bitch trying to tell us what to do? So they feel some type of way and whatnot. I don't know why we don't let white people handle their own shit. And we don't focus on ourselves. We always trying to dabble with this sort of fake pseudo power, because we think that we've been appointed to political office, that we got some sort of power. Don't matter whether it's a black woman or a black man. They always think that they got some sort of power and shit like that. Oh, I've arrived. I'm here. I'm an elected official and everything. But then they can never do anything for black people. You know what I'm saying? Every time there's a black mayor, the black people, they still poor, they still dusty, they still don't have anything. You notice that? That's why the white conservatives, they got a point whenever they talk about, look at the liberal cities, right? Even though they always try to tie it to just the mere existence of a Democrat, being, the mayor or everything. No, the issue is again, it's an economical issue. Deindustrialization, which has nothing to do with whether Republican or Democrat is in office. But what I'm saying is you always get some black mayor or some black congressperson or some black senator. They always, we got power. Oh, look at all the black faces that are up there. And they really don't have any power because they can't do anything for their constituency. They can't do anything for black people. Name me a black politician that has actually done something for black people. I'll wait. Go ahead, all you we love black Democrats, and we got to make sure our person gets in. Tell me what they've done. Are your schools better? Are your streets safer? You know what I'm saying? Did you ever get any of that low income housing? You know what I'm saying? You got a better job now? You got better jobs? Are you gainfully employed? You got full medical and dental? I bet you don't. 50 years of black people voting for Democrats, you ain't got not a fucking thing to show me. But yet, y'all out here with all this energy and shit. What do you want me to say? I don't have nothing to say. I got the same energy, for black people as I got for these white Republicans. I look at them like, y'all some dumbasses, man. Y'all just dumb. I can make the same argument with the white Republicans. No teeth having, y'all seen these white people up there, standing outside the Capitol? Do any of them look like they're gainfully employed with their camouflage hats on and shit like that? No. Poor and uneducated. That is what those people are. And black people, they up there and, they think they so smart. And you got all these black, shills, all these black personalities that are, like Claudia Jordan and shit like that. They up there, talking a bunch of big game. Like that actually means something. Please. So a lot of the sad part is a lot of the educated black people done sold out the regular black people. Real talk, all these personalities, these D.L. Hugleys and these Roland Martins and these Claudia Jordans and shit, like they done sold y'all motherfuckers out. Because I keep asking you, what do you have to show me for your vote? Show me something. Show me what you got out of it. Y'all can never show me shit. But yet, you got all these black shills that are always up there telling you need to vote for the Democrats. They good, but you not. They in the big house, but you not in the big house. They comfortable, but you not. They hopping in the Mercedes Benz, cook, but you not. You know what I'm saying? But yet you up there, you subscribing to their shows and liking their shit and 5 stars and you doing all this dumb shit and you ain't got shit to show for it. I just what do you want me to say? I can't save y'all. I'm one man. You know what I mean? I can show you the water, but I can't get you to drink it. And nobody wants black people to be intelligent. Intelligent people are difficult to control. Intelligent people operate in their own self-interest. Dumb people operate on what feels good. It feels good. It sounds good. And nobody ever has to show you anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even, in other words, the people who claim that they're going to do X, Y, and Z for you, you never audit their shit. You never go through and show up at okay, we're going to audit what you claim that you've done for us. You know what I mean? You don't make them sweat. You don't make them nervous. You don't make them scared like they're not going to get reelected. You got black, I mean, most of the black politicians are like they're ancient. Like, they've been there forever. Like, you got these niggas die in office. They've been there for so long. You know what I'm saying? But yet, their city, their state, you know what I mean? Wherever black people reside, it still looks fucked up. It looks as fucked up as it was the day that they got in office. Y'all jumping up and down. Elijah Cummings, we gotta vote. We gotta make sure he wins. All that shit. Where's Elijah Cummings from? Is it South Carolina? Or no, not Elijah Cummings. I think Elijah Cummings with Baltimore, right? Dusty, Baltimore, still in shambles. You got the other guy who's that black guy from South Carolina, Clyde, Cleves, whatever his name is. You know what I mean? Looking like Otis the security guard. You know what I'm saying? Again, another shill. And I don't even like talking to black. You ever try to talk to black people that are older than, I don't know, I say 50 years old about politics? Oh my God. I could put hands on the niggas. It's just, it's awful. It's awful. It's just these generalized, fucking just stupid ass ways of thinking about life in the world and just uninformed and just old Negro platitudes. You know what I'm saying? It's never anything in some real substance. It's never anything like, hey, I did think this way when I was younger, but after living a full life, I can tell you this is some bull. They never give you the scoop. You know what I'm saying? They never drop nuggets of wisdom on you. You know what I mean? To put you up on some game so that you can actually respect it as a young black person. You know what I mean? They're always up there on some just dumb, it's like talking to fucking grandpa from the Boondocks. You know what I'm saying? They just don't get anything. You know what I mean? And then when you try to address it, they're like, I went through the civil rights movement. I lived it. You just talking about it. I lived it. You know what I mean? You can't have any nuanced conversation with that. It's just old black people. Y'all just y'all just get on my nerves, man. Y'all old crusty niggas get on my nerves, man. You can't tell them shit. Got information at your fingertips. Can't tell them shit. I'm telling old niggas, why don't you go fucking look it up? Damn, nigga, look it the fuck up. You got a cell phone, you got a touch screen. Just type this shit in Google and look it up. Don't you just be sitting here talking some dumb shit. Oh, that shit irritates me. Ooh, that irritates the hell out of me. And it's and it's just sad because it's just there's so much of a delay. In terms of passing on the torch, for black people, in other words, and I'm gonna end this video because I'm already talking too long, but I'm saying there's so much of a delay, black people should be getting some prime cut, primo information when they're young and in their 20s. I should be on some shit. I should have more knowledge in my 20s, you know what I'm saying, than they had when they were in their 20s. But unfortunately, as a black person, you don't end up really figuring out what's going on until you're like in your like mid 30s and shit. I mean, that's the real sad part for most black folks. Maybe I'm helping. I do get messages and letters from some young black people that's like, yo, I changed my major because of you, or yo, I look at things differently. I see the flaws of the things that my parents have done, and I'm trying to break the curse. You know what I'm saying? I get that, and that kind of gives me hope, but I'm just saying, like, we should be so much more I mean, we are, but it's not the doing of the black people that came before us. It's our own doing. It's our own curiosity. It's our own trying to figure out, like, what you saying don't make no sense, nigga. Like, it just don't make no sense. Like, what you're saying, it doesn't add up. Like all these old black people that, they trying to hide their own bullshit, and, they trying to steer you away from asking questions because what they told you doesn't really add up, or you start picking up on inconsistencies. And I'm like, and I can't stand these black folks, because I'm like, you're the reason why a lot of this shit in the black community is as fucked up as it is. Because instead of telling people the real deal, we don't get the information until way late in the game. Meanwhile, the whites and the Asians and the other groups, you know what I'm saying, they don't already surpassed us and shit. And so we running around trying to play catch up. And the truth be told, that because of that decade long gap of a lack of information, chances are we ain't never going to catch up. You know what I'm saying? Because the earlier a young person gets the information, the more that they can process it, the more that they can look at it and analyze it, and the sooner that they can accept it. You know what I'm saying? And then try to find ways to navigate around. They got more time to think about, okay, I done got this information at 17. Fuck. Okay. All right. I don't know what the answer is right now. I'm a little bit too young. Let me put this on the shelf. I'll come back to it. That's how it's supposed to be. Then when he gets to 25, eureka, I found the answer. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. But no, but see, you see the age window there, right? 17, he got the information. 25, he came up with the answer. For us, no. Niggas will be damn near 40 before they figure out what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? And then what? When you find the answer, you're going to be, almost half a century old. See what I'm saying? Like, it's too late. You probably already got kids by that point. You'd probably already been married and everything else. Like, you see the problem? You see the issue? You see what like why I'm so pissed off about this delay of information for young black people? I'm telling you, man. This is why you get black people that vote the way that they do and low information vote, because they never got any information. We got this propaganda machine that tells black people how the hell that they should think. I'm like, if so powerful you are, like Yoda said, if so powerful you are, why leave? No, if so powerful you are, why don't you tell the Democrats what they need to take off of the table? And then tell them what your expectations are, or what it is that you desire, and that they have to conform to your agenda. But no, that's not what happens. Democrats sit there and they talk to black people the same way that Biden was talking to black people at that Black Caucus convention, talking to them like they're children. Talking to them like, now you niggas, you know what I'm saying? Who's done more for you than I have? This nigga ain't even in office yet. And he up there talking like I've done more than anybody has ever done. I have challenged white supremacy and Donald Trump. Like, really, my nigga? Like, really? You know what I mean? And the Black Caucus just sitting there like a bunch of fucking scalded field slaves. It's fucking embarrassing. And these are supposed to be the scholarly black people that we look up to. Like, fuck out of here. Anyway, let me go in here. Hopefully by now, these white people, they've been pushing at the fences and shit, and they probably throwing off flashbangs and freaking tear gas and shit. I'm gonna see how this shit gets handled. I was watching some white guy. He was trying to appeal to the cops. You know, he was like, "We support you. Blue lives matter. Whose side are you really on?" I'm like, oh man. Again, you know, it is delusional when people think that power is actually on their side. Power is not on your side. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.